and welcome to this edition of Leading the Way, Oakland Schools' leadership interview series, interviewing dynamic leaders throughout the region. Today, I am so grateful to be here with Sandy Harvey, CEO of Exodus Consulting Group. Sandy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dandridge.
It's been my pleasure. I was so excited when you agreed to do this because you just have such a wealth of information. You've been doing this 25 years and you don't look a day over 26, so I'm trying to do that math in my head. But can you tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you became the CEO of Exodus Consulting Group?
Yeah, so absolutely. So I am the president and CEO of Exodus Consulting Group. I started that company 7 years ago. My background is in human resources and organizational management. So I do, organizational management, OD training, have loved that, been doing that for over 25 years, primarily in financial services. So building training, helping, everyone within the financial services and the banking realm, and then went into consulting. So I consulted when I first moved here to Michigan, because I am from Fort Worth, Texas. Woo woo. Shout out to Texas. Wish it was warmer.
Well, bring some Texas heat with you. Please.
So I learned about consulting when I first moved here in 2002. And then in 2017, that's when I started Exodus Consulting Group.
Wonderful. So thinking about your career, 2002 and beyond, what leadership qualities do you think have been most essential to your success? And how'd you develop them?
Yes, so I would say for me, one is resilience. So thinking about, especially coming here to Michigan after I got married, I had no automotive, manufacturing, labor union background. So essentially, I was viewed at that time as unemployable, even though I had HR experience, even though I had training experience. And so being resilient means, okay, I'm gonna get it done. So I had to develop that. I can't say that I've thought that I had it, 25 years ago, but over time I realized being resilient is extremely important. It's something every leader needs to think about and needs to do. So that was important to me. And then the other one is adaptability, is making sure as a leader that I'm flexible, that it's not just very linear, like sometimes we're thinking about, but making sure that we are aware to be agile and be flexible as we continue to grow and develop as leaders.
Yeah, it's really important. And leadership is such a lonely space sometimes. And so having that resilience comes into play in a major way that you can't even begin to think through. So, but thinking back, when you were just, kicking up your HR dust, what advice would have been beneficial to you?
Yes, so curiosity. So I am a person that likes to ask questions. So when I think about, understanding curiosity and understanding, being confident about where I wanted to go and be certain about that, I think the advice that I wish I would have known is success is not always moving up the ladder. For me, looking back now, today, I'm like, man, I missed so many opportunities to make lateral moves and to grow and develop. And I wish I would have thought about, okay, you don't have to move up the ladder. Because I remember that even in my own family, it was, okay, you made this, so when are you gonna get another promotion? And so I thought that that's all you should do, and that's what success looks like.
Yeah, and you can build outwards.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily going all the way up, because you can also build team and build, collaboration across spectrums too. That's really helpful. So thinking about leadership, what do you think is the truth about leadership that is rarely discussed, but is essential and very impactful?
That most leaders don't have a clue what they're doing.
100%. Winging it.
And we are, we've been taught, or it appears that people know what they're doing, but they really don't. So that imposter syndrome is real. I know men and women, if we're totally honest, we don't know what we're doing.
Winging it.
But don't stay stuck. And I think that that's the thing that's important, is to, maybe you don't know what you're doing, and that's okay. I've learned to own it. especially I'm 55 plus one, so 56 is in the house. But just, learning and being okay with knowing I don't have to know everything. I have great people around me. I have a great colleague and network or great team members to support, but understanding that you don't have to know everything. Just build a great team.
And I think that's where that curiosity comes in, right? I don't know everything, but I'm curious.
Yes.
I'm gonna know, I wanna ask questions. How does this happen? And oftentimes people don't do that. If you don't have the answer, seek it out. I wake up curious.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be fun to figure this out? Or can we do this? And what does that look like? And I rely heavily on other people to give me advice and guidance because I don't have a third of the answers, not even half of them. I don't have a third of them. So that's really important.
Yeah.
So you may have heard that we have, a political election and things are changing.
Really?
Maybe. And what do you see as challenges for leaders as we're navigating? And we'll always have change. This is change is a normal thing, but what do you see as challenges, immediate challenges for leaders in our HR space?
Yeah, so if I put it stays on, my DEI hat stays on because it's not going anywhere, it's evolving. So, how do we work to collaborate? And, one of the things that struck me during COVID is I did a lot of workshops around communication. And I kept thinking, I'm like, why are we doing basic communication? Like, what is going on? But we have lost the ability to dialogue and listen. And it seems to be a struggle, but we can have differences, but I still want to have the open dialogue. So I'm hoping, I see that as a challenge going forward. It's, what we see sometimes, it's my way or the highway, but really being able to have open communication, have honest communication with others, I believe is really important. And then also the digital aspect of the work that's taking place can also be a challenge.
100%.
AI is not going anywhere. So we have to understand as leaders, how do we become more aware and adjust when we need to, but embrace the digital platforms that are out there that have been using artificial intelligence for a long time.
And it's not going, in fact, not going anywhere. It's just going to expand and really make our jobs look and feel different because the impact to employees will be different and how AI interacts and interfaces with their work. So that's a really helpful thing to know. Yeah. So thinking about our emerging leaders, what advice do you have for them?
Explore. That curiosity, I think, is really important. So being open and understanding that it's okay to explore. As we are even thinking about challenges we'll have, and we do have 5 generations in the workplace.
We do.
So it does require us to be agile in our thinking and how we operate, but also be open and have values, know what your values are. And I think that it strikes me because I think about facts, truth, integrity. You want to see that in a leader. Most leaders want to be that.
Yes.
Most people wake up wanting to go to their jobs to do a good job. So I try to lean on, making sure that these emerging leaders that are coming in, that they find the space where they want to be. I think that they can explore in it and have, adventure into something. Just because you spend time and have a little taste or, a role here doesn't mean that you have to stay there, but really just being able to explore and be their best selves.
So be curious.
All the way through.
All the way through. Explore all the things.
Yes.
And have fun.
Have fun.
And have fun. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom. I've learned so much from you, and I know that our Academy participants will learn from you, and I'm just really grateful you were able to spend some time with us today. And thank you for joining as well in this edition of Leading the Way.